Hey everybody, welcome to the next installment of Journey Through John, where we're taking bite-sized chunks of the Gospel of John, having a brief discussion, and then asking a question. And thank you so much for all of you who've been joining me on this journey. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it's been encouraging and yet challenging in the midst of all of it. Today we're diving into John chapter 8, and we're continuing on with verses 31 through 38. And so we're going to dive right into that and then have a little bit of discussion and a challenge at the end. And once again, if you ever feel like it, just feel free to ask questions in the comments or whatever have you. It's always great to hear from you. So verse 31, it says this: So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him. Remember, at the end of yesterday, we saw in verse 30 that many believed in him. So verse 31, Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." They answered him, "We are the offspring of Abraham, who had never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say you will become free?" Which I find it's funny. The Israelites might not have been enslaved, but they kind of were with Babylon, and they've been in oppression for numerous times, but they have to justify themselves. So anyway, we don't do that, obviously. So back to 34, Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The Son remains forever. So if the Son sets you free, you'll be free indeed. I know that you are offspring of Abraham, yet you seek to kill me because my word finds no place in you. I speak of what I have seen with my Father, and you do what you have heard from your father." And when he says, "I've seen it with my Father," it's a capital F for Father. And what you do, what you've heard from your father, it's a little f for Father. So let's just pick this apart briefly, and we'll discuss it. So what we see here is that if you believe in my word, you're my disciples. That's a big deal, because what he's saying is if you're following me, you listen to the word, you know the word, that truth in the word will set you free, and that you're going to know who I am by what I'm telling you and what you see and what God has given to us through his word, meaning the Bible, and that time the Old Testament, the Torah. You're going to see that I am who I say I am. And that truth is going to set you free. It's powerful in that way. And so what that means for us, there's a piece there I think we should touch base on. How much do we know of his word? And don't get me wrong, I'm not a great memorizer of scripture. I know the zip code rather than the address, meaning I know it's around here in this area. But there are certain people I know that you can walk up to them and they're like this walking concordance. They know exactly where the scripture is that you're talking about. And that's great. But I am growing in that. I am getting better in that. I'm getting deeper knowledge in that. And that's the whole idea, is that it's a process. We should never be stagnant or standing still on this journey that we're on. I mean, we have Journey Through John. We're not just reading one chapter and then just staring at each other like a 5-minute video tomorrow where I'm just going to be staring into the camera hoping that you're watching too. We're moving through it. Discipleship is a journey, and we're supposed to be grabbing people and taking them with us through the journey. I won't take too much more time on that, but then Jesus says, "He who practices sin is a slave to sin," and slavery is it's an important concept for us to understand. So often we can justify sin because it feels good in the moment, or it feels good for a short time, or explains away the hardness of getting out of that sin. And so we'd like to just say, "Well, it's not that big of a deal." But Jesus is saying you're a slave to it. It's got you. It's a chain around your neck, and it is weighing you down from experiencing all that I have for you. Are you willing for that to be the case? So, and then he says, the slave does not remain in the house forever. The Son remains forever. And so it's interesting as he's talking about the Jewish people who are bound in sin, and they can say by the law, well, you're free, but the slave doesn't have the power to free anybody. Now the Son lives in a house forever, meaning he's part of the household, and he can speak on behalf of whoever is accused to the Father and say, "I think they should be free, Dad." And the Father will say, "That's your call. Okay, you're free." Do you see that how Jesus works this, and how when Jesus sacrifices, and if we believe in him, we believe in his word, and we understand who he is, and then he sacrificed himself on the cross, died, buried, resurrected, he is going on our behalf to the Father. He's our mediator, and he's saying, "I think that the ones who are following me here, they should be free." But if we don't believe in that word, what we're doing is we're staying in our slavery, and we have no freedom to be set free. We can plead with him all that we want, but we're not a son. We're not of the Son. We're a slave. And so there's a challenge to us in that is for a couple things. And I'll just wrap this up. What are we allowing, even though the Son has set us free, what are we allowing to be a chain around our neck? What is it that we're holding on to? And God is calling us to a standard to be like his Son. We're supposed to be Christ-like. and growing to be more and more like that. We're supposed to be holy because he is holy. What is it that's holding us back in that way? And then from that, since we've been set free by the Son, who are we talking to about the Son that they may be set free as well? That's our job as Christians. And we may say, well, I'm not much of an evangelist. Am I supposed to go door to door? I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that we have opportunities to talk to people about Jesus. And I think this is a great time for us to get real confident in that as we're in quarantine, so that when we have the freedom to have these conversations, or if we have them online, or if we have them over the phone, or however we have them, we're waiting for there to be an opportunity for us to talk about Jesus. We might not pick the phone like, hey, you need Jesus right out of the gate. But I think there will be opportunities for us to say, people might be looking at us and saying, why do you have so much joy? Why are you okay with this? Because I have Jesus. I don't know. I hope that challenges you. And I thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow as we continue to journey through John.